This is Gregory Shelton with Historic Living, Modern World. It's a special day today because I'm with a woodworking friend of mine by the name of Franco Fragapane. Franco's an amazing woodworker. I sent him a sketch for a table that he's going to make. He's going to make it today and I can't wait to show you the results. Franco!
Hey, Greg.
Hey, brother. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Doing well. Thanks for making the time, man.
Good to see you
Look forward
again.
to working with you.
Same
Absolutely.
here.
So I can't wait to see this table. I know you're going to start working on it, right?
Yeah, I got the sketch for you and everything ready to go.
Let's roll. Can we
Let's
check it
walk
out?
over. Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Check it out.
What I got is I went into the log yard and I got a piece of poplar
Okay.
for a stump to build the table. And what I come up with is I want to use reclaimed lumber.
Okay.
Because you're putting this in a farmhouse and it's supposed to be old and recycled. Of
course.
So I'm going to use a stump and we're going to create legs for it, 4 legs.
All right.
And what I want to do is do some mortising and tenon, and then we're going to take and do out of the ordinary. We're going to do a typical board going across, but the opposite way. I'd like to use an axe handle.
Interesting.
Since it's a chopping block, I figured,
love it. Very
we'll use
cool.
an axe handle.
Very cool. So, and what type of wood are you thinking about using for the legs, like style-wise?
They're old 2x4s that,
Okay.
I reclaim from old houses that get demolished and
Awesome.
it's demolished, and people give them to me, and
So it's going to kind of match the rustic side
the rustic
of the wood.
theme,
Very
that
cool.
you're looking for. So
Very cool. And I think the cool thing about this is that you're using a poplar tree for the main chopping block with poplar haul. The idea that is actually a little bit of a lighter wood, right, as far as heaviness. So the middle is going to be an axe handle.
This will be an axe handle, and this will be a board cutting across. So it'll be just a cross brace to make the base rigid.
Gotcha. And the mortise and tenon will go into each leg.
Each leg.
So you have a joinery with glue. It still be a strong hold.
Yep.
Okay, so Franco, it looks like you've already assembled all the parts that we need for this table. So we have a wonderful piece of poplar here. It's already cut, looks beautiful.
Yes.
And then tell us what we have here.
These are 2x3s that came from an old house in Philadelphia.
Okay.
They were renovating the house, and I seen them throwing them away, so I asked them if I could have them, and I took several dozen of them that I have. There's old flooring too from a barn.
Okay.
And then here's the axe handle. I've acquired a bunch of brand new handles at auctions and different places I go. And these are the parts we're going to use to build the table legs.
I love it because you have old barn wood or old floor joists that already have nail holes on them. They look gnarly, but again, you're looking at almost a live edge here. That you got rid of the bark. You took the bark off, right? So you had to remove the bark from a moisture perspective, or that it won't stay in.
As it dries, the bark will naturally fall off on most trees. So
gotcha. So we remove that, and then the axe handle is a standard wood. And
the axe handle's probably made out of hickory. Most of them are made from hickory. These are probably pine or fir. I won't know until I cut them.
So we talk about using a piece of poplar for the top chopping block of the table. And the first thing that drew me to this is the beautiful green color that you're getting from this grain.
Right.
Can you tell me what part of the tree is? This is the basic tree. So is this a sapwood and a heartwood type thing?
Yes, this is the sapwood, the outer ring here.
Okay.
It's a lighter
the
color.
lighter?
Yeah, that's the sapwood. This is all the heartwood of the tree.
Gotcha. So it would be essentially a harder grain.
Yeah, it's a little harder. It's a hard wood.
Right.
The sapwoods tend to be softer.
Right.
But for what the purpose that you're using, we're not using it as a chopping block. So we use
more
it as
the
a
look.
piece of furniture. So
gotcha. Again, people don't necessarily use this live side of poplar. So most people have not even seen this green.
No.
Which is to me, it's very cool. It's very different, and that's going to stay. That even when it dries out, it's not like the green's going to go away.
No, it'll fade a little bit, but the color will still be the same.
Very cool. A wonderful choice in wood. I think it's going to be really a cool table. So what are we doing right now? What's this?
I'm doing my layout for my mortise and tenon.
Okay. So you're talking about mortise and tenon. And I know just from knowing you for a good amount of time, you're a big fan of Japanese joinery styles, right?
Yes, I am.
What makes you so excited when you see a piece of Japanese furniture?
The joinery, how it's built. A lot of Japanese furniture, they don't use nails, they don't use glue. It's all in the joinery. It's how it's joined together. They're the precision joints that you don't need nails, glue, screws, nothing. They're all interlocks and everything. And it's something that I would love to go to Japan and spend a month or two and learn.
When I was thinking about making the table and designing it, to me, you're the king of recycled woods and finding interesting species. And when I wanted to make the concept, I knew you'd be able to kind of realize it by really finding the wood that will work for this.
Yeah.
So I love this. I love the stylings, and it just really is. It makes sense with all the selections that you made.
There's a lot of local shops and actually shops all up and down the East Coast that actually contact me for different species, different types
Wow.
of wood, something special.
And you have to love what you do,
Yeah.
and you have to be a little bit of a dreamer. You have to be a little bit of an investigator. You see a wood that you buy it from their yard, right? I'm sure you've done that, right?
Yeah, I've driven down the road and turned around and went in their yard and said, I want to buy that pile of junk you got sitting there. And sometimes it's fencing, sometimes it's a piece of furniture that's in the garbage.
I think from the way people might look at you, you're a woodworker, but to me, what you do is artistry, and I think you're a true artist. And when you're looking at different types of woods, you're looking at grains and the beauty of standard woods, and you're realizing and making something out of it. So that's why I think you're awesome for what you do.
Thanks.
You're very welcome.
All
Absolutely.
right, I'm gonna go start cutting these.
Okay.
This is a mortising machine.
Okay.
It basically drills square holes is what it does. It's drill press with a drill bit and a square chisel on it.
So exactly how does this physically work? There's obviously something spinning inside.
Yeah, there's
right?
a drill bit inside of it.
Okay.
And there's a chisel on the outside of it. I have one here in the drawer I could show you. Basically what it is you have a drill bit,
All right. Standard
just a
drill
standard auger bit, and then square chisel.
bit. Wow. Very
And that's
cool.
it. So the two of them, so when the drill is spinning, drilling the hole, and the chisel squares it up.
Gotcha. Very cool.
And this comes from England. I actually found this in a barn. It was in with a horse.
Okay.
And I rescued it. We completely took it apart and rebuilt it and cleaned it and everything.
Okay. So tell me, looks like a super old machine. What is it?
It's an old joiner.
Joiner?
Yeah, I found it years ago. It actually, when I first moved to Delaware, I found it in a scrapyard, and I recovered it. It dates back to around 1940s.
So Franco, this looks like another old machine. What do we have here?
This machine actually is from the 80s, but some of them date way back, early centuries, like the 1920s and 30s.
Okay. So it looks like we have part of the table base here, and I see an interesting piece of wood in the middle. Can you tell me what your thoughts are on that?
Well, I use an axe handle. I have a bunch of them that I buy once in a while. I use them for projects. What I did is I tenoned both ends of the axe.
Okay.
There's a tenon on this end also.
All right.
And I tried to leave as much of the original axe handle as I can. So now the only thing left to be done is we have to put another mortise on this leg here
Okay.
to tie everything together. And then once that's done, we'll test fit everything, and then we could drill and dowel everything together.
Frank, I love the fact that you're using wooden dowels in this to hold the base to chop. That's perfect. So Franco, this table is done. How beautiful is this thing? Tell me what you think about it.
I love it. I think it's a great table.
Okay.
It's not a butcher block. I think it's a piece of furniture that you could use in your house.
Right. It kind of has that farmhouse look to it because you could actually use it if you really wanted to. But to me, it's
I think it's
lighter.
a modern, contemporary piece of furniture.
I love it. Absolutely wonderfully done. And what I love about it is you're using natural things. There's not a screw in this thing.
No, it's all pegged together. It's mortise and
can't
tenon.
beat it.
We used an axe handle for one of the stretchers. It's all reclaimed lumber from old houses.
We're going to be coming back to Franco to film another segment on an actual table, which is going to be remarkable, and I can't wait to do it. Hey man, I thank you very much for your time. Wonderfully done. Can only get it from you, so I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So I'm happy to say we're back from Franco's house. The table is done, and I have to be honest, it's not only exactly what I hoped it'd be, but it's really even better. It's truly beautiful. When you look at the table, the things that really struck me when it's cleaned up and glued and it's really completed is I love the scallop side. When he removed the bark, it really created this really natural line, which I love. The legs with the barnwood are rustic, but still modern. And the joinery that he did, the way he recessed it into these posts, we did dowels for everything. There's no screws on this piece, which to me says a lot about the construction and more importantly about Franco's skills. Anyone can run a screw and run bolts and screws to hold things. But when you're doing joinery, that's a little bit of the next level side of woodworking, which is exactly why I went to Franco, because he has those skills and his mind thinks differently, just like mine. And together, I believe we created one beautiful chopping block table. If you've enjoyed what we covered today, make sure you click like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. This is Gregory Shelton with Historic Living, Modern World, reminding you, whenever you do something, always make sure you work to move people. Cheers.